Welcome to our second session for our Employer Institute this spring. My name is Brandy Derwin, and I am the Assistant Director for the SFA Center for Career and Professional Development. I'm going to have Jamie introduce herself as well.
Hi, I'm Jamie Bolden. I'm the director here in the Center for Career and Professional Development. It's great to be here with y'all.
We're very excited about hosting our second Employer Institute here through the Career Center at SFA. And for this session, we're going to be talking about how to post your jobs and internships, and of course, recruit candidates here at Stephen F. Austin State University. So I am going to be sharing my screen here in just a minute to kind of walk you through Handshake a little bit. But before I did that, I did want to go ahead and just offer some general tips on some feedback that we hear from students when it comes to what they're seeing online and maybe the job descriptions that they're viewing, just so that everybody, can kind of look at their postings that they're putting out online with a fresh lens and with fresh eyes, especially as we're going into a time with COVID and hopefully soon post-COVID. I think it's a good time for us to kind of pause and see how our postings are listed and how we might be able to have our online presence kind of complement what we're doing in person whenever we're able to be back on campuses, etc. So the first thing that I would encourage you to do is pause and actually read your job posting. I know that sounds a little silly, but oftentimes we go through these through the motions, right? It's the same position that we're hiring for that we hired for last year. And so we may be just copying and pasting those positions out. But sometimes kind of taking a moment to reflect upon what the position is actually saying, how it's presented to the candidate. Perhaps whenever you're looking at your posting, you start off with a really great About Us section so that the candidate can kind of see a little bit more about what your company does. But when we're looking at how that might look on Handshake, you may be duplicating kind of the efforts there, because in Handshake, if you scroll down just a little bit on the posting, it actually pulls your About Us section on there. So it may look like a little Pete and repeat whenever it comes to what you're presenting online for individuals to review. And again, we'll look at that here in just a minute. The second thing I would encourage you to do is when you're reviewing your posting, I would encourage you to try to have a conversation with the individuals that are actually in those roles right now. They tend to be the best advocates for what they do in their job every day. And so perhaps as the position is written by your organization right now, perhaps it needs to be tweaked and modified just a little bit to truly reflect what that person will do in that role. Sometimes when we write our postings, we use key transferable skills that we want the candidate to be able to bring to the organization, and that we want them to be able to utilize in that role. But sometimes focusing more on like the day-to-day, what will I do every day type approach can be helpful for a candidate as they're going through and reading your position and potentially applying for that role. So if you have a chance to do that, I would encourage you to consider that and kind of look at the position through the lens of the candidate more so than the lens of the recruiter. All right. We know that through our trained eye, we look at resumes and we can kind of pull key transferable skills out of those resumes, or through their interviewing, our ears are kind of trained to hear key transferable skills that will work at our organization. But when we're looking at how the position reads for individuals and maybe would be more enticing for them to apply for, sometimes pausing and taking a little bit of a fresh look at that can be helpful for the job seeker. The last thing that I would encourage y'all to think about considering reviewing on your posting is your organization's approach to COVID and how that might look for the job seeker. Is your organization considering remote work, or is it going to be purely in person? I think being transparent about that helps the candidate know what they're about to get into as they apply for different positions. So even if that's a quick link to your website, so you don't have to update every job posting, but maybe a quick blurb on the job posting that says, for COVID-19 information and our response, click here to learn more. That way, as the situation evolves, you can modify just your website and not have to modify kind of everything that you're publishing to universities. So just a few key tips that we've been listening to students approach, and some of the key questions that they've brought to our office as far as what the future might hold in the workplace. And it's kind of some asks that they have when it comes to job postings, as far as just being more transparent on the everyday, what will they be doing in that role, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, if y'all will give me just a moment to get everything pulled up here. And I'm going to show y'all some of the fundamentals of Handshake, so that you can get more comfortable with using this platform to post your positions. I am going to just walk through how to post a position on Handshake. So I'm actually logged into our Handshake profile right now. SFA, the Career Center, does have our own little company account. And so this is my little demo site. I apologize if it looks a little silly, but it's, again, my demo site. So it's the easiest way for us to kind of walk people through this platform to get more comfortable with it. All right. So the first thing that I'd like to point out is that Handshake is a growing company. When SFA joined Handshake back in 2017, I feel comfortable in saying that they maybe had almost 500 or so schools that had joined the Handshake platform. It has been a great opportunity for our office to be able to utilize this platform to make it very easy for students to learn of opportunity, as well as get employers connected with students and students connected with employers. That's what we're here to do. We want to provide opportunities for students and employers to connect. And with this platform, we're able to really achieve some great things through SFA. So to date, when we fast forward to 2021, there are over 1,000 schools that are part of the Handshake platform. So in just a short 3 years, their usage from universities has almost doubled, which means you as an employer, when you first joined Handshake, whenever that was, you were presented with a certain slate of universities or users that you could select from. However, almost daily, there are new schools that are being added to the Handshake platform. So I like to first start off by clicking over here where it has, if you'll give me just a moment. Okay, over here where it has your search school, or excuse me, your schools section right here. So this is going to be defaulted to your favorite schools if you have any favorites selected. So if you don't have any favorites selected, it's most likely going to show up like this, where it says your employer schools. And you can see, you can scroll down. There's 4 pages worth of schools or universities that we have connected with in our demo site. But you'll notice that there's this option on the far right where it says add to favorites. So this is going to be able to put all of your top schools, your top tier schools, in one little bucket for you. So when you're going through to post positions or to search students or anything like that, it automatically kind of places these filters for you just to clean things up. Because I know when we're going through and looking at our employers and everything, and our company, or excuse me, our universities, it can be a lot to kind of comb through and to kind of move through. So know that that's how you can do that. But like I mentioned, in a short 3 years, Handshake has almost doubled in the number of schools. So you can click here where it says more schools, and I'm telling you, there's 40 pages here of schools that our university has not connected with, or our company page has not connected with. So it's good, maybe once a quarter or maybe once a semester, however it is that you want to do this, to just kind of go through this list one more time to see if there's any new universities that have been added to Handshake that you may want to start a partnership with. Okay, of course, to do that, you just hit this little request button. As a university, you fall into our pending bin, and we go through and review you as a potential employer for our university. Okay, you can also sort it by region. So if you know that you are only looking for schools in the South, you can click there, and it kind of sorts and filters things down nicely for you. All right. So I did want to point that out just so that you can kind of see how you can clean things up on your side when you're going through to post positions. So perhaps it's not quite so daunting. All right. Let's get back to posting a job. So I want to go back to my home screen because I think this is the easiest way to get started to posting your position. So I'm logged into Handshake now. And before I really do anything, I go ahead and I pull up a few things for myself on my computer. So here in our office, we actually have a Word document that has our job posting on it, which is something that we have approved through our human resource department. And it's kind of the approved posting that we can roll out. So I like to have that up to copy and paste because that makes things nice. And then I also pull up our human resource website. So I know that this is for a totally different job, but again, it's my demo. So with this, what I like to do is just have this direct link to this direct posting already pulled up so that again, I can copy and paste things nicely into my Handshake platform. All right. So if you get all of those ducks in a row, it can sometimes make your posting a little bit easier. So I'm ready to post. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click where it says post a job. All right. I will mention on that previous page, if you have any jobs posted already, they will show up here for you to review. Also, if you are registered for any career expos or career fairs, they're going to show up here at the bottom for you as well. So this homepage can be quite helpful for you. Anyways, so posting a job. All right. So as my platform loads, it's going to go ahead and start dropping me into some fields that it wants me to start to fill out. All right. So the first question here is, where should students submit their application? So depending on your organization, you may want students or candidates to only apply through Handshake. And this is going to be your one stop for you to collect applications. Some of y'all may have it to where you have, you want candidates to apply directly through your external system. So what we mean by external system is going to be, as an example, here at SFA, we have a human resources website that we really want all candidates to apply through at the end. All right. So we're going to go ahead for grins today, and we're just going to say apply through an external system. When I click there, you'll notice it changes a little bit of things for me, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add in the job description. So for today's test, I'm just gonna put employer relations intern. From here, it's gonna give me the box to go ahead and copy and paste my URL directly from my applicant tracking system, okay? So again, this is why I like to have everything already pulled up for me so that I can literally copy and paste this into this platform here. All right. From here, you can go ahead and display your contact information if you'd like. It will include your name only it'll default to name only, or if you don't want it to show any of your information, you can select that. I haven't met a recruiter that doesn't want their contact information shared, so know that you do have the opportunity to control that if it's something you wish to do, okay? I think this is also helpful because I, as a candidate or a job seeker, can find you on LinkedIn and can follow up and can ask additional questions. Okay, so there's that option there. From here, this is where you need to go ahead and select a job type. Keep in mind what you're putting into this this platform here is what serves as filters for the student side or the candidate side. Okay, so if I am a candidate looking for an internship, it's going to filter by internship. Okay, I can filter that by that option. Or if it's an actual job, I can filter by job. So it kind of depends on the angle that you want to post your positions. This gets challenging when some employers want to post one posting that says we are hiring, because you can only select one option here. So if you're hiring for both internships and jobs, I would encourage you to take the time to pull those and slice those into two different postings. All right. Keeping in mind that once you have another unique posting, you can copy a URL here as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this as an internship because that's my test today. In our office, our internships are part-time. Again, these are filter options from the candidate or the student side. So being as transparent as you can be over here is going to be important. This is an internship, so it is going to be temporary or seasonal because it does have a start date and an end date. Here is when you can go ahead and include when your internship will start and when your internship will end. Now, this is not the apply start and end date. This is when the actual event or your position, once they get selected, will end. All right, so I'm just throwing some dates in there. For this work study option, so some universities will use the Handshake platform to advertise for their on-campus work study positions. Here at Stephen F. Austin State University, we do not do that. That's handled directly through our Human Resources Department, so it's defaulted to no, all right? So just know that if you do select yes and you try to push this position through, you will get an error message that says that this university does not do work study positions through Handshake. All right, so just a little note there. Down here at the very bottom of the screen is what I like to call the cookie crumb trail. So you can click on each of these little cookie crumbs or you can hit next. All right, so for grins, we're going to go ahead and hit next. All right, no errors popped up. If you do have any errors pop up, it will stop you and give you a kind of some red text to address. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste my description. So I have our official posting that has been approved by our university. For this role, I'm going to be highlighting our essential job functions. All right, this kind of walks the job seeker through exactly what they're going to be doing in this internship. All right, so I'm just going to copy and paste these here. Now you'll notice that the formatting does pull over pretty well. If you need to change anything though, know that you can come in and do bulleted statements or numbered statements, however it is you want to do that. So it does save you time from having to actually copy it or type it in yourself, but know that you can do a couple of options here. The other thing that I really like to note is that you can post pictures in here. You know, sometimes we want to create an infographic that has information presented for folks just to kind of catch their attention a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and post if I have an image on my website or something, I can post that there, which is, again, a pretty nice feature that will direct them to an image. All right. You can also hyperlink text. So if you wanted to hyperlink something to another website, you could do that there, copy and paste the URL, and it'll provide a blue link for candidates on that job posting. Okay. So this section, this just description section, can get rather lengthy, but keep in mind whenever candidates are looking for positions, the more they have to scroll through it, it just looks like a lot to kind of navigate. So sometimes having a link to learn more or compressing that data down a little bit, again, you want them to be able to submit their application and hit apply. That's really, of course, what we're wanting to have happen. Okay. Moving forward, you can go through and indicate how many students you expect to hire for the position. So as an example, I'm going to put 3. We hired 3 interns this semester, so that's the number that will stick with this posting. This next section is talking about the salary. So I know that we have a lot of options here, and sometimes employers don't want to be overly transparent in the application process about that for a variety of different reasons, whatever that might be. But know that typically when you have positions posted with an associated salary, it starts to create a very different conversation with the candidate. So if you are doing a paid internship, let's say you're going to do it for $10 an hour, know that you need to go ahead and select your time period here. All right. So if it's per month, if it's per hour, or if it's per year, make sure you slow down to adjust that. Sometimes we get postings that say $10 a month, and we decline those because it's an error. All right. So we don't want any information out there that might look a little misleading. Okay. If your position is something that it depends on experience, I would encourage you to be transparent with that up here in the top description area, just so that candidates know that there may be some negotiating power on that. Or if you have a range, you can list the range up here at the top. All right. Unfortunately, Handshake does not allow you to do a range for salary here, but you can list that up in the description, just again, to be transparent with the candidate. All right. Down here for the job location is where you can go ahead and post multiple locations. All right, so let's say that you're posting this position in Nacogdoches. You'll notice that it starts to pull a little search down here for me. You can get as specific as you like. So I'm going to go ahead and add another location, and I'm going to type in the actual address of Stephen F. Austin, the official address. And you'll see that it'll pull up our official address here. The reason that you can be as precise as you'd like to be is because, again, this is a filter that students can search by. So if I am a candidate that is in Nacogdoches right now, but I'm looking to relocate to Natchitoches, Louisiana, I can go ahead and search my filters based on 50 miles from Natchitoches, Louisiana, okay? And then any position that falls into my filters, I'll be able to see more quickly and apply for those a little bit more quickly, all right? So this is why the location is very helpful. Also, if you are hiring for one position at multiple locations, know that you don't have to manage all, if you're posting at 5 different locations, you do not have to list 5 different jobs. You can add as many locations here as you need to. Okay, so that does help streamline things down just a little bit for you. Okay. If you are allowing remote workers right now, again, in either before COVID or with COVID, you can go ahead and select this option here. Again, that is a search filter on the candidate side. Okay. And then on here, does this position require a U.S. work authorization? So there is a blue link here that will take you to a help center that gives you some more information about hiring and recruiting workers that do require this sort of authorization. Okay. So if this position does require it, if you hit yes, it's going to ask you a couple of more questions. Is there an eligibility for international students? If you're willing to sponsor, some may say yes, some may say no. And are you willing to hire candidates that are temporarily authorized? You may say no or yes. Okay. Know that this particularly falls in lines with our international students, those that may be here studying in the United States, but may still need to work as well. Okay. Now down here, we do have required documents. This is where you can go in and be as specific as you'd like. So it's going to default to a resume. So know that you will automatically get a resume unless you unselect this box, and then you'll just get the student's Handshake profile. You can require a cover letter, you can require a transcript, or you can require other documents. So if there is something specific that you need to know, as an example, here in the Career Center, I like to have their class schedule as part of their application process. So I will put class schedule, right? So this kind of helps me in deciding, who might, when we're having conversations with students, it kind of helps us guide those conversations. All right. So again, I'm going to move on to my cookie crumb trail. And now is when I'm going to go in and start to kind of market this position to a specific group of students. Okay, so we've got graduation date range, and I'd like to be very transparent with y'all about these filters that we're moving in here, okay, or these preferences. So the graduation date is something that is absolutely controlled by the student. All right, so here in the Career Center at SFA, we do not fill this information out for students at all, okay? So unless a student has gone in and edited their own profile, which is not necessarily the case for a lot of students. They're using this and just applying for positions. If they have not updated their graduation date, it's going to show to the student that they may not qualify for this position, okay? Which may be a hindrance. It shows up in red text, and so they may say, oh, I can't apply for this job, even though I really want to. So, use this graduation range as you see fit. But again, I encourage you just to be mindful that this could show up as a red flag for a student, all right? However, this school year section is absolutely something that we control here at Stephen F. Austin State University. So if you are looking for a student who is classified as a senior or is getting their master's degree, and our platform is available to our alumni, you can click this alumni button. And that is something that our university platform does automatically update based on the number of credit hours that the student has, okay? So just be mindful of that. If you did want to list a minimum GPA, again, you can do that here as well. Of course, on the student side, if they have not put their GPA in their profile, this will show up that they do not match the GPA requirements. All right. This also goes for when you're searching candidates. These candidates will not show up in your search. Okay. Now over here is where you can start to target your posting just a little bit. So and for my example, we're looking for an employer relations intern. So usually we gather those interns from our human resources area. So I'm going to select there, and it's going to automatically pull in a kind of a bucket of students. So you can go in and you can kind of clean this up just a little bit if you realize that some of these options may not be a good fit for you. So you can clean that up as tightly as you'd like. All right. You can also select as many of these as you'd like as well. It just depends on what you want to do. Okay. Down here at the bottom, we do have our applicant package recipient. So if there's somebody else in your organization that you know will want to see these applicants come in as well, you just add their name. If they are not in Handshake, you can create a new contact for them. For me, this is me right here. I want to get an email every time a new student applies, because we all know good talent goes quick. So anytime somebody applies to my position, I want to be able to jump in and immediately review their resume to see if I want to bring them on board. If you don't do that, know that you'll get a summary once the position expires. You can also select both of those, but I don't typically need twice the emails. All right. Same thing for Jamie. Let's go ahead and say that this person only wants a summary once the position expires. You can leave that there or modify as you see fit. Okay. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and post our position to our schools. So again, I talked at the beginning about you going in and favoriting your schools. This is how you can go in and strategically post your positions. Okay, so it pulls in your apply start date. I'm going to go ahead and just do 1 month from today, just for today's demo, and it will close at 9:40 in the morning, which that works for me. And so I'm going to go ahead and say next. And this will give you a preview of what your position actually looks like. Okay, so you'll recall at the beginning of the presentation, I talked about how sometimes at the beginning of a posting, we will list this huge about us section. Again, Handshake automatically pulls that in. So I would encourage you to be mindful. You want to get straight to the posting as quickly as you can. So again, I mean, I'm barely scrolling and I can already see what the functions are for this job. All right. Now, once I'm ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and it will automatically go to the universities that I have selected. But you can test your links to make sure that everything works nicely. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and it tells you, boom, that the job has successfully been created. All right. Now, there is one last thing that I like for folks to kind of know a little bit more about, and that is this email option here. So if I hit email, it will open an Outlook message that has a direct link to this posting. Now, this can be quite helpful when you are connecting with students either via email, or if you're going to put this on your LinkedIn or connect with candidates on your LinkedIn. By providing them this link right here, it will be a direct link to the Handshake posting. Okay, so just know that there's a couple of ways that you can advertise this to your candidates, and it'll redirect them directly to your posting. Okay. All right, great. So that is an overview of posting a position here at Stephen F. Austin State University. Again, you'll see on this home screen, I went back to home, that I have my one position here and it is approved. So you can see that it is ready for candidates to go ahead and start applying to. So that is all that I had to share right now, but I did want to go ahead and open the floor for any questions that y'all may have. I'll be happy to do my best to answer any of those questions for y'all. So you can feel free to unmute yourself or put them in the chat, and I'm happy to help.
Hi, Brandy. This is Jack from Synergy here. I have a question for you. Once the position is a post, and then do we need to let you know and then we get approved, or what is the process?
Yes, so on the university side, all positions that are posted by employers go into a pending bin. Here at SFA, I read and review every one of those postings. So when we're closed for holidays or anything like that, know that those do stack up. But we do read and review postings daily. So if at a university you're seeing that the position has been posted, but it has not been approved, feel free to go ahead and reach out to the university and say, hey, I've posted this position. Is there anything else that you need for me to get this approved? We here in the Career Center will comment back and forth with you directly on Handshake, just so we can keep everything in one platform.
Yeah. And then after it is approved, will you send this information, the job posting information to like the academic department or the student organization to let
Sure.
more?
So we have a really close partnership with a lot of our faculty here on campus. And so we are happy to send that over to key faculty members or to student organizations as a way to advertise your position. Know that here later on today at 11:30, I'll be talking about how you can reach out to candidates and students as well from the employer side.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Well, we are at time. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And our next session will start again at